All right, Todd, what's going on in the market these days?
Well, thanks for joining us, everybody. Today we're going over the Greater Phoenix metropolitan housing statistics for the week ending August 25th. Let's get right into our numbers. 81 days closed on market this past week, a 4.70 month supply. Absorption rate was at 21.27. Average list price this past week, $698,436. Average sale price this past week, $561,966. And the list price to sale price retention was at 97.4. Active inventory continuing to take little hits ever so slightly, down 24,170 available units. Pending is at 3883 and closed units at 3980 for the month. Looking at new listings taken, 1,827, a little bit short, but better than we did last week. Days on market for active inventory is at 123.8 and for closed at 81. Looking in the lower left-hand side, where you get to look at the price ranges in each category, you get to see the number of units that are available in that category, the days on market for that category, and then, of course, what percentage of the entire MLS inventory that category represents. And you can see there's a couple of areas in which are in red, which indicate a contraction. So under 400,000, between 600 to 2 million, actually, pretty large range there. And then 3 to 4 million had a little bit of a hit. That brings the actual $0 to $600,000 inventory to 68.07% of the entire MLS. 600 to 1 million is at 20.16, down just a bit, and a million and up is at 11.77. So the document that I think is always the best one for us to talk about and look at is this one, because it gives everybody the information you need to have a conversation with someone else, because you get to compare the numbers, and that, of course, gives you an opportunity to be an expert in your industry versus someone who may just have one set of numbers instead of being able to compare. But again, we're looking for 2,400 listings a week. If way over on the left-hand side, you'll see this thing called ROT, this column, and that's rules of thumb. That's where we'd like to be. And so 2,400 really is what we've been continuously looking for. 1,827 is where we are right now. But some good news. If you take a look in the center two columns, the colored columns, you'll see 1,747 is the number of new listings taken this same week last year, and 1,647 the year before. 1,827 is a 5% increase. That's a huge number. So although it's not our 2,400 desired number, it's saying more sellers are putting their properties in the MLS than did last year, and that's a good sign. So when we look at the inventory at 24,170, it's made up of 608 coming soon. Single family detached is 18,481. 2,735 new home construction properties. 23,816 of the entire MLS is non-distressed. Looking at pending is at 3883. That's up 3.8%, but look across to last year's numbers, 3,345 and 3,400. There are 400 to 500 more buyers in the marketplace right now than there were last year this same period. Now, this is the second week in a row we've been talking about this. You maybe remember I said a couple of weeks ago, could the summer market be late and coming now? Could the talk of interest rates lowering, which haven't happened yet? And remember, this is resale inventory, not new home construction. New home construction doesn't report into the MLS. But this is a very, very good sign. You'll probably notice that you're getting some more activity on your listings than you've had before. But make no doubt about it, we are significantly in this transition market, but it's no longer heading towards a buyer's market. It is now heading back into a seller's market. Your inventory is continuing 6 weeks in a row to have contracted, reduced numbers. And for the last 3 weeks in a row, we've had an increase in the number of people coming into the marketplace. So something to really take a look at as we're having conversation. Transition is still the correct word, though, to use. It's not a buyer's market. So 3,980 is where we are closed month to date. That's pretty close. Look at last year. We were at 3,973. we're ahead right this moment of last year, and we haven't even gone into the closing week yet. That's still this coming week right now. So 3,944 is where we were exactly this point last year. 4,686. So we're slacking as it relates to a couple of years back. But again, we only look at last year and are we doing better than last year? Because we all kind of still feel the pain of last year. So anything we can do to help increase that is a good thing. We're at 4.7 months supply, so that's the reason why we're still closer to the 4 than we are the 6. So we're still in a transition market. We were at a 2.31 month supply last year. Average list price, average sale price, and the median. Look at the median, 400. The last number there, 449,000 versus 450. So again, there's significant stability in what is actually closing. Is actually in those price ranges. Those are where the predominant numbers are. So I like looking at the average sale price and the average list price just for this past week, just to see where, and then look at where it was last week. Again, the houses between basically, on average again. So that's taking your $1 million homes and your low end homes and dividing by the number of homes sold. But the 449, the median tells the tale. It's $1,000 less. Right at this particular moment. If that number was 435, that would be indicative of a price issue where the sellers are not able to retain enough of their list price. So right here, list price to sale price retention, they're retaining 97.4 over this past week versus 97.04 the week before. So they're about a 0.5% more the sellers are retaining. We'll continue to watch this number. 97.8 is the number that we've been averaging for the last, since I've been doing this since 1998, recording these numbers. I mean, that 97.8 has been the average. So that's what we're looking for it to be. But if it gets up into that price, if it goes too far over that, we are now back in the seller's market. So that's what's going on at this particular moment.